Be the right club. Be the right club today. Yes!
Johnny, that's better than most. How about in? That is better than most. Better than most! Expect anything different?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast presented by our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Happy Hour edition, AIG Women's Open. Teeny tiny bit of Wyndham here at the end. Solly here, but checking in with our guys on the ground in Wales, a place I've never been, place I've always wanted to go. I'm always envious of these two during AIG Women's Open week, and I'm especially envious this week. Mr. Big Randy, hello, Big.
Hello, Mr. Solly. I can report it is a gorgeous evening here in Wales, a bit breezy still.
Which is bullshit. The whole thing with Wales was that there was weather out there. Like that's we need some more of that this week. I'm not happy with like seeing this video you guys had, you playing golf in the sun and all that. That is not why we sent you there.
I know. I think we're going to get a bit at points throughout the weekend, but man, today was a cracker of a day. We're very excited for the championship. I know we're going to get into everything, but good to be here.
Big's right-hand man or left-hand man, depending on how you're viewing the screen, Mr. Cody McBride. Hello, Cody.
Hello, buddy. You touched on the weather. We actually have been shocked as well because the amount of luggage that we brought over preparing for this week.
Oh.
I think we only watched the seniors when they were here, and that's what we thought it just was like every day in Wales. So we both showed up, we met up at the airport and like, we got all these check bags and stuff. And Randy's like, I don't think I'm going to need my long johns. I don't think I have too many sweaters. I'm going to have to find some shorts somewhere. It's a lot, buddy, but I'm excited. I'm pumped.
God, it's heat advisory here. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. It's No Laying Up presented by FanDuel. The LPGA's final major is here, and FanDuel is your ultimate destination for all the action. From outright winners to player props, there's a bet for every moment on the course, and don't miss a second. Live betting lets you stay in the game as the action unfolds. That's always my favorite thing to do. You got to see a little bit of the tournament unfold. I'm never good at the pre-tournament stuff, but when you can get a little vibe of things, that's when I like to nibble on the action. So download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and take a swing at betting the LPGA Tour today. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. You think I'm not ready for a major championship week, guys? Come on.
Bro. Yeah.
Come on. We were delayed a couple minutes here getting going because the Reds made a blockbuster trade here as we came on, and Randy and I had to do some deep dive on Cabrian Hayes. We're not that thrilled about the move.
Doesn't look good. Tell you that.
It's not good. But guys, before we dive in, I got a few notes here on a player that I think we're going to be discussing a lot in this episode. You're probably going to be able to guess who I'm talking about very, very quickly. Over the past 2 months, she finished low amateur at the United States Women's Open. She won on the Ladies European Tour by 6 shots. Again, as an amateur, she finished tied for third, 1 shot out of a playoff at the Evian, a major championship, earning her LPGA Tour card. And after 4 rounds as a professional, Lottie Woad is a winner on the LPGA Tour. We got to take a quick run through her Titleist equipment. Constant across all those starts has been Lottie's 2025 Pro V1 golf ball, which she moved to at the start of the year after seeing more speed off the tee and more spin with her scoring clubs compared to her prior gen Pro V1. At the top of her bag, she's gaming a TSR3 9-degree driver, a GT2 15-degree 3-wood, and TSR2 18 and 21-degree hybrids. For the iron, she goes T150 5 through pitching wedge, just like me, and then moves to 3 Vokey SM10 wedges, a 50-degree F grind, 54-degree S grind, and a 58-degree K grind with 6 degrees of bounce. That's a setup so I think we can all agree has been working pretty well. The best players in the world, Lottie included, are fit for their golf ball and every club in their bag. Head to Titleist.com to find a fitting near you and get your setup dialed. Cody, I want to start with you. what has got you most excited during what I know is one of your favorite weeks of the year?
Yeah, we got Lottie fever over here. It seems like that's the only
incredible.
person.
I got a case of that too. It is spreading quickly.
It's broken contain. It's a pandemic.
It's crazy. People forget that, like, you Nelly Corda, Gino Titical, Minji Lee, a hell of a year so far. Everybody, which rightfully so, I understand, like, is fired up about Lottie. So I'm going to lead with that. I'm excited to see how Lottie does, because so far it seems like she's just like a duck, man. Everything just rolls off her back. Nothing really phases her that much. What I am primarily concerned about with Lottie is that it has been so much the last month, and she kind of looks tired, you know, and I haven't spent a lot of time around her, but, you know, she has the pep in her step and everything. And then all of a sudden you start talking to people around her and like, you know what Lottie needs right now? Lottie needs to get some rest. Vacation. And I just don't know if she's going to be able to get that before tomorrow afternoon.
Couldn't have dropped that on me before we organized all our picks and all that stuff. I had none of this intel as I got caught up with the fever. I've been holed up on the couch trying to get some fluids in me with this fever, and didn't have any of that. Randy, what's got you most excited?
Honestly, Solly, it's the course. It's the venue. I kid you not. I was so curious. I only knew Royal Porthcawl from the Senior Open a few years ago, 2023, I believe. Biblical weather. And looking at pictures on the internet, you know, you kind of try to get a feel for a place. But one of those spots where showing up, I just truly did not know what the vibe would be like, how, you know, the look of things, the routing, all of that. We'll get into it a little bit here. Cody and I got to participate in the Pro-Am on Tuesday morning, which was a godsend because we got to, you know, hit the shots, see the course, go all around. And it is just, it's unique, I think, especially among Open Championship, and I say that kind of as a blanket over the men, the women, even the seniors, knowing that they've been here. But I struggle to really compare or to fit it in a box, at least with other venues that I've seen and that I know. The routing is unique. We're going to get into all of this, but I just think it's going to offer a really interesting and really fun test for the women this week. And I'm so excited to see it. We walked off the Pro-Am course and both of us were like, man, I just don't see like super low scores out here. And, you know, watch, somebody will go out and shoot like 64 tomorrow. But it is just, it seems like the type of place, especially if the wind freshens and kicks up, where par could be a very, very good score. So I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to see how the women tackle this place.
I got to disagree with part of that, at least, because I've only seen really one video surfacing the internet, and it was of a slender man getting absolutely crowned with a terrible golf shot almost going in the hole. So I don't know if I'm seeing the same high scores that you're seeing out there. I see a potential crowning, some funnel pins even potentially. Truly one of the shittiest golf shots I've hit with one of the best results that I've seen. How did it miss the bunker? I was like trying to look at this image, trying to figure out how it happened.
Ran it right up through him. You know, Lottie Wode, yeah, she's been the buzz of this place. But once word started spreading about
Big's been the buzz
about
of this
that
place.
Tee shot I hit on 15. Yeah, it seems like many people are just simply gobsmacked by what they've seen.
I hope people will check. It's on the AIG Women's Open socials. I believe it's been co-posted over to ours as well. But guys, what I'm most excited about is something I don't think you guys have mentioned here in the first 10 minutes here, which is what are you guys doing over there? Like what is the main purpose of your visit there, and how can people consume your content?
Yeah. It's really one of our favorite weeks of the year.
Third year now, Solly. It's crazy.
Doing
year.
What? Tell the people.
Do you want to?
Well, yeah, it's no secret. We talk about it a lot. So we're over here. We do stuff with the RNA, of course, just like the Pro-Am video. And there's going to be a couple other features that come out to include what we found out today, like a full-length YouTube video. That was kind of a shock to us, but you can check that out on the RNA's YouTube channel. But what we're most excited about is we come over and we do radio. And it is an incredible experience that we get to pretend that we're broadcasters for a week.
Yeah.
The radio team is amazing. Obviously, if people listen to the open radio, it's the same exact team. basically missing a couple just because it's slimmed down a little bit, but the same production team, majority of the main players, and it is truly it's the best way to take in golf. And we're so lucky that we're able to walk inside the ropes doing it and with just an awesome team. I love it.
Being the third year now that we've worked with this team, like truly friends, I think now. It's such a privilege to be able to, whether out on the course following groups or sitting here where we are. This is the radio studio where we're recording. It's just phenomenal. And we're going to do it all 4 days. Check it out, AIGWomen'sOpen.com. If you want to go through the internet, there's also a nice AIG Women's Open app on your phone. Just find the radio button. And, Cody and I won't be on all day, but we'll be in and out.
God, that was a perfect setup. I could have done it in the BBC voice. You're listening to AIG Women's Radio, broadcasting on RNA TV, AIGWomen'sOpen.com, and the official app. BBC Sports Extra 3 in the United Kingdom, as well as Sirius XM and the Sirius XM app in North America.
You could take Marcus's job,
guys. I'm sorry. So if people want to tune in, which hopefully people do want to tune in, bright and early, we're starting at 9:00 local time tomorrow in studio, and then the first time we're going to be out calling the live golf will be me tomorrow afternoon with the dynamite pairing of Lydia Ko, Lilia Vu, and Lottie Wood right out of the gate. I'm so pumped, walking all 18 holes up close and personal, calling the shots as they come.
That's 12:54 local time. That would be 7:54, I believe, on the East Coast. And that will be, and I was going to say the other thing I'm like most excited about is kind of similar. I know it's baseball. Baseball's on my mind, like it always is, Randy. But like when you get that top prospect that comes up and there's like that appointment TV viewing, like, hey, I know, like, all right, he's going to be up third in the first inning, so I got to be at my TV by like 7:14, all right, so I don't miss it. That's kind of how I feel about Lottie tomorrow, honestly. And I'm a big Nelly fan. I can't say I've ever gotten to that level of like I need appointment viewing for her opening tee shot. And I don't know. There's that beautiful spot as a sports fan of like you're living in that moment where you're just picturing she's going to win the next 18 majors, and we know it's not true, and we know we're probably overhyping it, and we know all of that. But you can live in that little space where there's been no flaws that we've seen. You can just feed off of the excitement of it into this week. And I don't know. I was there with Rose, and I'm definitely there with Lottie. And that's awesome that you're going to be on the call, Coach.
I think mentioning Rose, there's a lot of comparable aspects, I think, of where Lottie is right now. Won her first professional start, just like Rose did. Decorated amateur career, won ANWA. Rose,
played honestly coming into their first major championship as a professional with like the expectations that they're going to go out and win it. This is the exact same thing that happened to Rose at KPMG at Baltusrol.
And I think, and this is talking to people, so people much smarter than I am in and around the game. I think there are some certain differences to note in the way that, Rose Zhang, her superpower, if you will, will be her consistency, how she was able to, nobody beat balls on the range like Rose Zhang, just dialing in, especially with her wedges. She just was the model of consistency, right? And didn't really have, I don't think will ever really have a superpower relative her peers, right? It's not like she's bombing the ball 300 yards or anything like that. Talking to folks about Lottie, I think Lottie is somebody that is long, hits it where Nelly hits it off the tee. I think Lottie is built with like an uber competitive mindset from everything we're hearing. And I think there are real differences in just the makeup and how they go about playing golf. And so, I'm fascinated to see how she responds as the betting favorite. Like that floors me, that Lottie Wood in her second professional start is the betting favorite. So I think you're right. Appointment viewing, Cody's going to have the best seat in the house. Tune into the radio. It's going to be, it's just going to be awesome.
I'm so upset I didn't come up with Scotty Woad. Whoever came up with that was such a layup, man. And you could claim that, you could ride on that one for the next 15 years if you wanted to. And somebody else came up with it before I did. I'm gonna lose sleep.
This happens, by the way. So people that are tuning in live, there's a timer in the radio booth that we're at. So besides myself getting murdered right now by
our arms
to
to
sun, I got to go turn the lights
to activate. Let me mention one thing, because there's a new feature here this year that we're going to be a part of as well. On the RNA YouTube channel, each day from 11 a.m. to 12 noon local time. So that would be 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern time back in the States. Get up, have a cup of coffee. They're going to have a live show from the driving range, broadcast live on YouTube. You can also watch it on demand. And I think I'm very excited about that. I'm actually going to be participating in that tomorrow. And yeah, it's just, like we said, third year we've been here, and it's really fun to see the advancement that's going on with the coverage here on the ground, the investment into the tournament. I mean, the venue, the fan village, it's a really, really excellent tournament. So I would just say, to our audience, if you're drivable, right, if you can come over and get here in person, I would encourage you to do that. But certainly if you're back in the States, we'd appreciate it. Flip on the television coverage, but give us a follow on the radio. And I think it's a great way to take in this tournament.
Absolutely. Well said, Big. We've talked about Lottie a lot so far in the 15 minutes that we've been going, but you mentioned the golf course and what you're excited about. I think that's kind of where we start, and we discuss why it's going to be what you think of the buster that it is going to be. The number one thing that sticks out to me, I don't know if I'm super in on this yet or not, but there is a routing change for this major championship. The 18th hole, the members' 18th hole is playing as the first hole, and it probably is the coolest hole on the golf course. And it's going to be probably one of the hardest opening holes I've seen in a long, long time.
I think it's the most unique. It will be the most unique opening hole of any Open Championship course. Ian Carter, our buddy at the BBC, made the point, just that Portrush with the internal out of bounds. That's very unique. But this first hole, it plays kind of from the top of a hill straight down to the water. Okay. And what makes it unique is, one, it's well bunkered. It's not a especially wide fairway. It's certainly not like a handshake opener like you see on a lot of links courses. The fairway clearly ends. Okay. So it's a very limited distance that you can carry, whether a driver, depending on what the wind, the prevailing wind is off the west, off the water. So it's likely going to play dead into the wind. So I imagine most women will be hitting drivers, all right, trying to find this fairway. And then for the second shot, you kind of have to carry the nasty stuff, the bunkers, the long grass, and the fairway slopes down towards a green. I mean, the Pro-Am pin was insane. I got to think that's probably not a pinnable location for the championship. But this green is kind of runs from front to back, more down to the water, and there's kind of a collection area at the very back. It's just, I think it's going to yield some big numbers. I just can't imagine it's going to play very easy, especially into the wind, Cody.
Yeah, for sure. I think very, very tough opening, demanding drive. You have a tendency to think that you need to keep it further left than you do, and you have a lot of room right. There's this real cool hedgerow that runs off the right-hand side that it feels like you're more in play there, but the wind coming straight into you is it's like the last hole that really is the case, because once you get to the normal number one, what we'll play is number 2, 3, 4, 5. If players make it through the fifth hole at even par, mentally they will be 2 or 3 under on the day, because the start is that difficult. And then really gets to some super fun holes. I think at the 8th hole is very, very, very short par 3. It's got 6 pock bunkers all over the front of it, and the hourglass shaped green with a pretty big slope in the middle of it. That's got really 2 cool pin positions in the front and then 2 cool pin positions in the back. I'm so excited to see where they play that, because the wind is going to be coming hard off of the player's right, and they're trying to hit these little feathery wedges in there, and they're all gonna end up in those bunkers. Like it
looks
doesn't really matter
so
where you land it.
devastating. It looks like they're just
going in them.
It's so undulating. Those bunkers just look magnetic. Like
it's crazy.
It's the exact kind of hole I'm so excited to watch major championship golf in. Of just like,
and yeah, we're talking about 117 yards and no ability to lengthen it. The tee box truly butts up against the property boundary. So yeah, that's a great hole. Some really challenging par fours throughout, but I think the finishing stretch will be a lot of fun as well. I if we want to pick it up at 15, the par three, not very hard for me, not a very difficult shot. We'll see how the women choose to play that shot. It usually requires, an aerial approach, right? Unless you can be brave and skirt the two bunkers like I did. That's another difficult hole.
Did it go between the two bunkers on the right?
Yes.
Like, I'm looking at the image now. It looks physically impossible.
He shouldn't have made it off the front of the tee box. I have no clue how that happened.
The greasiest birdie I've ever made.
My guy made the putt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know.
Yeah. So then you get to 16 with, again, two distinct fairway sections, right? So players, again, this is all depending on the wind, but they might be hitting 3-wood, maybe some driver if the wind's kind of back into them one day. But the fairway distinctly ends into a couple bunkers at about 267 yards. And then you're left with a kind of uphill, a little bit blind, as close as you want to get to this ridge leading up to the second fairway. There's just a little bunker on the left side protecting the green. But again, kind of a ridge in the middle of the green, a little back to front, a false front. It's just an uncomfortable hole, I think, where, it could be iron for the ladies. It could be 3-wood iron. And then you get to 17, and I think 17 is a fabulous hole. I mean, stop me if you've heard this before, but again, another like split fairway with bunkers that bisect it, and a very what did you hit off the tee on 17? Do you remember? Was that a
4-iron?
A 4-iron, yeah. So again, you're just hitting like a long iron to the edge of this first fairway. And again, you have a somewhat blind uphill approach shot, two bunkers on the right-hand side of this green, which are just fabulously placed to kind of catch most balls that aren't perfectly struck. And then you finish with a par 5 18th, which with the prevailing wind kind of gets downwind, and I think can certainly be reachable for the longer players especially. But the green itself is a hard sloping left to right green. The wind's kind of coming off your right, so it can be a difficult green to hold, certainly a difficult green to get close with a second shot or even a third shot. I just think it's such a unique mixture of holes that we're going to see. And I think both the beginning stretch and the ending stretch are have the potential to be fantastic.
Wow, you got me super amped on this. Now, so there's a big push, I think, in a lot of the women's game, especially kind of, maybe I'm thinking more along the lines of the KPMG Women's PGA necessarily than I am RNA in particular, of going to golf courses that the men are going to, like going for the biggest names, like Baltusrol. Like, regardless of how this plays for the women, the men play at Baltusrol, so let's go to Baltusrol. Like, this is kind of flying in the face of that. And honestly, as a fan, I would rather see the women's game take advantage of golf courses that are extremely unlikely to host top level at of the men's game on the senior circuit, Senior Open. They just went to Sunningdale, which was awesome. They went to this golf course a couple of years ago, as you said, but it seems like they're playing in a sandbox that I really am looking forward to seeing. Of like, this golf course makes sense for the height the women hit it, the distance the women hit it, the way they spin it. The the features of this golf course are going to come out in full force compared to just seeing guys drive it 360 and flip wedges in. Is that a fair assessment based on what you guys have seen?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. Listen, there is a place to get to, and the women's championship has recently gone to your Muirfields, right, and the old course. They are very much making a push. They just announced today in 2027 this championship is heading to Royal St. George's. Okay, so I think going forward we're going to see the majority of AIG Women's Opens at venues that host the men. But this is an exception, and I saw you said it perfectly. I think it's a place that the men would simply overpower. You just couldn't. In fact, we were talking to our playing partner in the Pro-Am. I think this course would love to host a men's open.
Who's our playing partner?
Our buddy Jason, who's the head of tourism for Wales.
Hard sell.
Yeah. There's like a field that kind of borders the golf course, and they're talking like to have any chance of hosting the men, they would have to buy that land and essentially create all new holes and reroute this place and save some holes, but it would be a totally different golf course. So
Can you just pause on how silly
that is? For sure, it's ridiculous.
Just build new holes.
So to be able to bring this championship here, I think is a wonderful thing for Porthcawl. I think it's a wonderful thing for Wales. This is, as we've been reminded many times throughout the week, this is the largest women's sporting event in the history of this country. And I think that's great for the people here. And yeah, we think, Cody and I mean, about the skills that are going to be required here. It seems like you're not going to be able to fake your way around this golf course. It seems like it's a premium on ball striking, both off the tee and not necessarily with driver, but you got to be well positioned off the tee, but certainly with your approach play. It's got to be solid shots. Hugh Kim, I think, hit 3-wood into all 4 of the first holes, par 4s in the Pro-Am. Just to give you an idea, I mean, can you imagine if the men were hitting lumber into the first 4 holes of all being par 4s? They would lose their shit. But I think it's going to be an exercise in patience. That's what Cody and I have talked about. Who can just keep making pars, take advantages when they come to you. But I really don't think it's a course where you can force the issue very much. And then, of course, you got to get up and down. You got to be a good lag putter. You got to make some putts. But that's what we're thinking. I don't know if you have anything there to add, Cody.
No, I agree with all that. The only other thing that I would say is when we talk about courses and a potential rota, if there is one, I think this does allow the AIG Women's Open allows proper golf courses, proper tests that will not be able to host just like this one, but it also provides, that's where Walton Heath comes in.
Yeah.
And how its proximity to London and how great that was. And they will go back there again next year. Royal Lytham and St. Anne's, like, phenomenal venue.
Hell yeah.
You just saw the men last week at Sunningdale. This tournament has a long history at Sunningdale. They will go back to Sunningdale. And how sweet is that going to be with modern golf and everything else back at that venue? Like, they're continuing to push the boundary. I'll say again, 100% of that is due to the investment in AIG. I'm not afraid of saying that. They upped the purse again this year, 9.75 million or something like that. It's crazy how much they've grown it in the 4 to 5 years that they've had it, and truly taken it to championship venues. And you see the champions that they've had. Like, it's a phenomenal list.
Yeah. Gosh, you guys are. I'm gonna come to the Lytham one next year. Can I come on you guys' trip?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on.
We'll even get you a job while you're here.
Yeah,
bro.
do you want to work radio?
No, I don't want to work. Wait,
That's how that works. We don't know how that's.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, you're still invited.
All right. Well, you got me stoked on the golf course. I really, I like, God, seeing Randy digging into a yardage book. I just want to come follow you guys around and watch you do your job for a week. Like, it is. I've never seen Randy with a yardage book out like that. Not since the Book of Yardage at Dornick in 2018.
We
He actually
even mentioned
he signed a book of yardage from Dordick today.
Yeah, we got a little personal golf in. We'll shout out our guy Ian hosted us at Pinard. If anybody has played Pinard, I thought it was just a delightful, charming links, not too far away. And yeah, got to sign a yardage book. Do you want me to do storylines, or is there anything else course related?
I always forget to do a run of show off the top, but we're going to get into some storylines. Kind of Randy's top storylines. We already talked a little bit about the schedule for the week. Going to note some groups that are going to be especially worth following for Thursday and Friday. Going to check in on some odds from our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Of course, we'll do who will win, who won't win. Quick little look into the Wyndham Championship here over stateside, and then we will close things out. We got a little 15-ish minute interview with Georgia Hall ahead of tomorrow's play. So
I'm flipping through my book. Like, how sweet was the ninth hole? That slender little green, par 5. This course is going to be. I'm going to be very disappointed come Sunday if the winner's like 18 under par, and I'm just like, God, didn't see that one coming.
Hit us with your storyline.
All right, I got 5 storylines. You might remember we did something similar at the U.S. Women's Open. Listen, folks, if your storylines might vary, okay? These are my storylines, and I got 5 of them. We'll run through them real quick. Listen, number 1 is Lottie Woad Mania. I think it might rival Beatlemania, honestly. It's unbelievable. We talked about, she won the Irish Open. She won the Scottish Open. Here's a little tidbit for you. This was courtesy of our guy, Justin Ray. She's the second woman to win both the Irish Open and the Scottish Open in the same year. The only other person to do that, Dame Laura Davies in 1994. And less people forget, last year at this Open Championship, Lottie was the low-am, tied for 10th, had a great showing at St. Andrews. It's just the pressure, though, is going to be immense on her. Okay. I can't imagine. She's obviously been through a whirlwind having won the Scottish Open. And then to come here the next week, it's a major championship. It's her first major championship as a professional. I just think it's going to be a big ask for her to win this tournament. I would love it. It would quite honestly be an awesome story if she did. I'm just trying to kind of calm myself down. I certainly think she can compete here, but boy, if she were to win it, that would be amazing. And you would see Lottie Mania just explode. And I will say this. I think it's great to have a potential superstar and somebody like this coming into the women's game from England. I think England is starving for somebody that can consistently be men's or women's, right? Like a top 3 type player in the world, somebody that can win multiple major championships. For as popular and for as good, quite frankly, as Charlie Hall has been, we haven't seen her win a major, right? And we haven't seen her honestly win that much on the LPGA Tour. So I don't want to get too far ahead with Lottie, but I will say, much like, the NBA is better when the New York Knicks are better. I just think professional golf is better when you have an English superstar. So I'm hopeful for Lottie. That's my first storyline.
Question for you, Big. Do we have enough data on Lottie performance insight wise on just her kind of superpower? Like, she seems long. She's long by the eye test. Do we have any kind of context for how long? Because I think that's also part of the projection and getting super hyped on. And you talked a little bit about that with Rose, of like, it wasn't like Rose was, Michelle Wee, Lexi Thompson coming out just cutting dog legs and taking it over from a physical standpoint. But kind of seems like Lottie is, but also has a lot of other skills, is where just trying to match up kind of the tools there with the high projection.
So my associate Cody here is furiously searching for stats. Quite frankly, we say this a lot. I don't mean to belabor the point. Sorry. I wish there were, I wish we had ShotLink at every single tournament stop that the women go to. We don't. So I think it is kind of eye testy right now, Solly, to be honest with you. But I think, we'll have some good stats this week and certainly something that we can get an answer to. Cody, am I vamping enough for you to dig up any Lottie Woad statistics?
And
We
I'm
don't
fine
have
with the eye
anything
test.
from KPMG Performance Insights. I'm gonna have to go to the U.S. Women's Open site because that'll be the last time that she's registered there.
Okay, I'm fine with the eye test here. I just want to.
Okay, it's a great question. It's something I'm curious about too as well.
Because I think that we can, as it relates to the next person up on your list, I think is why somebody we've seen ascend to the top of a big reason why we've seen this person ascend to the top of a lot of favorite rankings and Rolex rankings.
Let me go there, and we might come back to Lottie here in just a second. But my number 2 storyline is Nelly Korda is both looking for a win this year, and she's also in search of an Open Championship. All right, I don't think anybody would have taken the bet that we would be here at the Women's Open, the last major of the year, especially off of the 2024 season that Nelly had, and she hasn't won this year on the LPGA Tour. And that's not to say that she's played poorly. Her scoring average is still very good. I think it might even be better than last year. But it's just astonishing that, having won 7 times last year, of course, 5 in a row, won the Chevron, she has not won this year. And I think Nelly, listen, this is a big week for her. I think she's got the whole team here. I know putting has been a focal point for her. There've been whispers. I don't know if either of us have been able to confirm it specifically. May or may not have a new putter in play this week. It's listen, a lot like Scotty or anybody, right? I think winning an Open Championship is such a jewel on the resume, right? It's such a feather in the cap that Nelly, her career, however we end up remembering her, whatever she goes on to, I feel like winning this tournament at some point would be important for her, no doubt, but also just important for what she represents, the number 1 player in the world, kind of a global complete player. She of course had a great opportunity last year at the old course.
I'm just looking at it. It's a better opportunity than we even remember. I mean, she was,
oh my God.
Birdied,
I think
kind of
9
and 10, birdied 9 and 10 to get to 8 under par. She doubled the par 5 14th hole and bogeyed the 17th hole to end up finishing 2 shots behind Lydia Ko. So parring out from 10 on. Listen, there was weather. There was a lot going on. That wasn't like an easy one. But
that's not how it happened at all. It's 14. She blasted her driver straight OB.
Was it 16?
16,
yeah,
right.
I believe it was 16. The one place you just cannot miss, she missed. And
she doubled 14 and then bogeyed 17. So I think it was.
So it was 14.
Yeah.
Excuse me. 14.
I mean,
14.
it's crazy. I will say, of all the tournaments that we've covered so far, this is the first time ever that Nelly is kind of under the radar. It's very, very weird to sit here and be here doing the happy hour with press conferences. And I know she did a press conference and she had a couple of good quotes in there about, finding her own personal enjoyment. And that's really it, is just how she bases her golf. But coming off of last week and the disappointment of last week, she played so good. And she started the final round in a great spot. At one point in time, tied with Lottie. And we thought, oh my goodness, they're going to go and battle this out. And we finally have TV coverage and it's going to be a heck of a Sunday. And then this blocky putter just showed up again. And we're like, what is going on? We're not going to go through this again with Nelly, but she's been absolutely grinding out here with her full team. Like Randy said, she showed up in camo. I think that was a major shout out to the country of Wales. During World War II, this is where the Allied troops did the majority of their training prior to D-Day. So a little U-boat shout out training just down the cliff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Nike and Nelly are getting into, but it's weird to say that she's under the radar because nobody's really talking about her at all.
Yeah. Listen, high floor. I think the ball striking is always going to give her a chance. It's just, can she make enough putts in that 3 to 10 foot, 15 foot range? And it's the great unknown. I think we were talking earlier with Scotty. It's so weird. The the parallels, I think, between Nelly and Scotty. And it might not be fair to Nelly to keep kind of bringing up Scotty, but I will one more time. Scotty had a poor putting week at the Scottish Open the week before his Open Championship, where he putted the lights out. But I think that the key difference, and Nelly didn't putt great in her Scottish Open, but I think the key difference was Scotty felt like he was hitting good putts, and he was hitting them on the lines he wanted to. They just weren't going in. And I don't think we've ever gotten that indication from Nelly that she's like super confident in the way she's putting and they're not going in. It's kind of like,
What are the greens like?
Putting's just not great.
They putt great. They roll very true. They're slow, but normal links greens. Big, long slopes. So there's not going to be any quick breakers or anything else like that. And I think that helps Nelly. She's not the best green reader in the world, but I think the longer slopes that she can see and she can visualize them are a lot easier than, it's specifically like thinking of Fields Ranch. Everything kind of has a quick turn at the end to it, even before the Bermuda grabs it. But doubling down again, Scotty's path from Scottish to the Open and what we talked about Portrush and Scotty, we still don't know if Scotty has is the type of player that can show up to a St. Andrews or an actual Scottish links course with conditions and weather and be as successful as he was at Portrush. And we talked a lot about the elevated greens and how it's a different, approach style and everything else like that, Solly. That's how this feels. And that's how that feeds into more of, I think this could be Nelly's. And the fact that nobody's talking about it, the ball striking prowess that she has, this sets up perfectly for her. And I just, man, I hope the putter shows up because it would be so good for the golf. Not saying that Lottie or obviously that would be phenomenal, but it's just something about this year so far of Nelly. She hasn't missed a single putt. This is going to be her 13th tournament this year. I think her highest finish is 37th or something like that. She made 8 top 10s. She's been there. She's been playing very good. She just can't close the door.
Yeah. So Nelly Corda, you're hearing it here first on the No Laying It Up podcast. Could be in contention, has a chance to win this week.
I'm such a simp, but I couldn't have been higher on Nelly after Chevron last year. I'm such a what have you done for me lately? I'm pretty basic on this, and you can crush me on that. That's totally.
I will
fair.
say, I will say too. Nelly would never say this publicly, but she's been asked about Lottie Wode. She got asked about Lottie in her press conference. I gotta think there's something there, even if it's subconscious, that competitive kind of. I think Nelly's wired like that. Where, all right, you got this young hotshot upstart. All the buzz around this place. I'm really, really curious to see what that does for Nelly this week. So we'll move on here. Number 3, listen, this is a little scummy. On the LPGA Tour, because there are 5 majors right now, there haven't always been 5 majors. There are 5 majors right now. They recognize a career Grand Slam for any players having won 4 of the 5 current majors. Okay.
And she hasn't won the 5th major as well, like that. If you're ranking all of them, it's the Chevron that she hasn't won as well. On top of this one,
yes, correct.
I'm saying this would be a very a complete career Grand Slam in my book.
Yes, and I'm talking about Minjee Lee. Okay, she won obviously in Frisco a month ago to capture the KPMG Women's PGA. She has a U.S. Women's Open. She has the Evian. She does not have an Open Championship, but she does have 3 of the 5. She is going for what the LPGA considers the career Grand Slam. Again, I know people are going to say, well, you should have to win all 5. I might not disagree with you, but just playing it straight here. Minjee Lee, this is her first opportunity for the career Grand Slam.
Can I also just say our official policy here at No Laying Up in terms of recognition of majors on the LPGA Tour is whatever fits your narrative. That's the official policy.
That's exactly right.
I wanted to get hype on Nelly so that her Chevron counts, but not all Chevrons count.
That's correct.
It has to fit the narrative.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. We probably should say that more often, but yes, you are right there. Minjee is, a bit. Okay, so looking at her Open history, right? She had 3 consecutive top 5s from 2020 through 2022. You're thinking, great, right? That included Muirfield, that included Carnoustie, proper links tests, okay? 2023, she finishes 50th. Last year at the old course, misses the cut. So a bit of a mixed bag in terms of recent form at this tournament. What I will say, all right, going back to, I believe, early May, the Founders, her worst finish is a tie for 22nd. And I think when we were talking about what are the skills that we're really zeroing in on this week, or what we think are going to be at a premium, right? Ball striking and putting. Minjee Lee currently 20th in strokes gained tee to green and 4th in putting. All right. The broomstick has been an absolute godsend for her. I think she should be right there with Nelly, with Lottie. I believe maybe the 3rd betting favorite. Could absolutely see her winning this week in great form.
Yeah, as discussed on the No Laying Up podcast when I had her on a couple weeks ago, she talked about how horrible the experience was last year, the AIG Women's Open, how excited she was to be at St. Andrews. And really, she took a couple weeks off after that because she was just in a really bad mental space. And she boiled it down to like, man, I'm not done. Like, I forever was able just to coast on my talent, and she rededicated herself, started talking about a new putter, and then put it into play at the end of the year. And then so far this year, I mean, her putting's been lights out. My only concern here is that the greens are slow. Like I said, she's going to have to make a lot of long strokes. And it's just one of those things where outside of like Bernhard Langer, I haven't seen anybody that like can play on a multiple different, setups and green speeds and everything else like that. Hit the shit out of your long putter. So that's my only concern.
Yeah, will be interesting. I don't think she anchors like Bernhard though, which might be
allegedly. And based on a ton of video evidence, yes.
All right, we'll get to number 4. Listen, my 4th and 5th are somewhat related. Number 4, can we get a repeat part 1? Okay. In the history of the Women's Open and this event, guys, believe it or not, you should go back and listen to the history of this event. Jordan Perez did an excellent podcast before last year's event, just detailing the history of the Women's Open. But there have only been 2 back-to-back winners in the history of the AIG Women's Open. The first instance was 1998 and 1999. The American Sherry Steinhauer did it. And then the most recent was Yanni Sang in 2010 and 2011. I mention all of this because, of course, Lydia Ko won last year, and she has the opportunity to become the 3rd woman to go back-to-back at this tournament. Her form coming into this week is not what it was at this time last year. She was, of course, coming off an Olympic gold medal, had just gotten inducted into the LPGA Tour Hall of Fame via victory on the golf course. And listen, has missed the cut at Evian, but it was okay at the KPMG, was pretty good at the U.S. Women's Open, but we haven't seen her in that top gear in a little while. But I think if patience and positioning and an ability to get the ball in the hole, get it up and down, make putts, if that is going to be at a premium, man, Lydia Ko seems like she fits the bill. In her press conference Tuesday, she talked openly about how she has embraced and come to love links golf. So I think she's got a great mindset to not only take on any weather conditions, but just really likes this type of golf. So again, we've talked about Nelly Korda, Minjee Lee, Lydia Ko. You're hearing it first here, folks, that all 3 of these women,
the top storylines,
can and will might compete this week on the LPGA Tour. So let me just quickly go into number 5, and this is, can we get a repeat part 2? This is kind of crazy. This year on the LPGA Tour, there have been 19 events, and we have 20 different winners. That's not a typo. I did not misspeak. The Dow is the team event. Okay.
That is a sick stat.
We have 20 distinct winners per the LPGA. This is the longest such streak without a multiple winner. And so, listen, I think you could take that one of two ways. Either we're due for a first-time winner this year, Nelly Korda, cough, cough, or perhaps we're due for somebody to capture their second win of the year. And so then you start looking, okay, well, who's won this year? And it's, your Minjee Lees, your Gino Titticums, your Lydia Ko. So who knows, Solly? But I think it is a stat that really caught my attention and certainly something to keep an eye on this week.
I saw that in the agenda and I was like, okay, well, he's got to correct that. There's something wrong there. And then the Dow that's a pretty amazing stat. Appreciate those, Randy. I appreciate your top storylines.
Thank you.
Any groups to note here, kind of tee times that you guys have circled or what you guys will be out following?
Yeah. So Cody, we mentioned earlier, he gets, I'm envious. He gets to go out, your feature groups. Well, let's start in the morning. The 8:09 a.m. local pairing is Ronning Yin, who you want to talk about somebody else that's way under the radar this week. I think Ronning Yin fits that bill. She's playing with Grace Kim, who won the Evian, and Brooke Henderson. At 8:31 local time, you have Gino Titticum, you have Minjee Lee, and you have Charlie Hall. That's going to be a fantastic threesome. Not that those are the only two good pairings in the morning, but I'll skip ahead to the afternoon. This is the group that Cody's going to be following at 12:54 p.m. local. It's Lydia Ko, Lilia Vu, and Lottie Wode. Lilia Vu, I'll just mention, as just no form this year. It's really a shame. I'm not expecting much out of her. It would be awesome if she summoned something, but that's a topic for another time. And then shortly thereafter at 1:16 p.m., you have Arya Jatanagarn, Nelly Korda, and Angel Yin. I would encourage folks, especially as we get into our FanDuel segment, start looking at odds. Angel Yin's recent run at majors is outstanding. She's somebody that obviously is a great ball striker. I think, certainly has a chance this week. Cody and I were saying last night at dinner, our only concerns is if patience is at a premium, I don't know if I love Angel Yin when she has to be patient. So very fascinated to see how she plays this week. I think those are probably the four most premium feature groups, but certainly there are a number of other good groups out there as well.
Listen, you guys are all layered up here. It's 95 degrees here, but I wanted to throw on a hoodie today. But you already know Rhoback is our go-to for polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, pants, all of it. Best fit, best feel, simple as that. Right now, peak summer means it's time for the best print polos. One of our favorite parts of Rhoback, the creativity behind all the designs in the polos. There's always a story behind the design, makes it relatable and easy to wear. The Old Bay one, I know, really caught TC and Neil's eye. They got a ton of great ones. I bought a Big Tex one in honor of you, Cody, because I really like that design. I have no ties to Texas at all, but I was like, I really want to rock the Big Tex one. The details are dialed. The Delta Looper shorts, they are back. They are fantastic. They're light. They're stretchy. Very comfortable. Great waistband. Is my absolute go-to when I'm getting ready to play around the golf is throw on a pair of Rhoback shorts. I got them in every color they make because they are my favorite shorts in golf. So if your summer fit needs a refresh, now's the time. Head to Rhoback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. Use code NLU at checkout for 20% off your first order through the end of this week. That's print polos, shorts, hoodies. Rhoback's got you covered. Rhoback.com, code NLU for 20% off. Checking in on the odds here, guys. We've mentioned it a lot. Lottie Wode, per the FanDuel Sportsbook, odds are, of course, subject to change, but she is plus 650. I hope these are also accurate. They were when I typed them into the agenda an hour ago. This is what it said. Nelly plus 900. She is second favorite. Gino Titticum plus 1,000. Minjee Lee plus 1,600. Arya Jatanagarn is plus 2,400. Heejin Choi, Angel Yin, Miyu Yamashita, and Hyojo Kim are plus 3,000. Ronning Yin plus 3,300. Lydia Ko, Somi Lee, and Celine Boudier plus 3,500. Mao Saigo and Charlie Hull are plus 4,000. Hate on You at plus 4,500. And Jin Young Ko and Ayaka Fudue at plus 5,000. Anything stick out to you about those?
Yeah, a couple things, I think. Well, one, played with Hyu Kim. She was our Pro-Am partner on Tuesday. She, I believe, again, this is a Justin Ray stat, I believe she leads women's golf in strokes gained across all major championships over the last 3 years. Is somebody that absolutely can win the tournament anytime she tees it up. I was very impressed with her ability to hit 3-woods, hybrids into these greens. Plus 3,000. I feel like that could be good value. Angel Yin, we discussed. Listen, if you want to take a flyer there. I'm a little surprised at Lydia at plus 3,500, quite honestly. I would think, just based on last year alone, she might be a touch higher. Haydon Rue, who you mentioned, plus 4,500. She leads the LPGA Tour in ball striking. And so if that truly is at a premium, she could certainly be in the mix. She is a flusher. So yeah, and listen, we could all be wrong about all this, and it could be somebody that, is a dark horse at 150 or 200 to 1. That's kind of the beauty of, honestly, it's kind of the beauty of the Open Championship. You never quite know.
Yeah, you get when you got kind of towards that plus 5,000, plus 6,000 range, I started to lose a little bit of interest, and then you get a little farther down the board, and you're like, huh, Madeline plus 9,000, Esther Hinslet plus 8,000. Like there's some.
Yeah, that's somebody we mentioned at dinner last night too. Was Esther? Yeah,
Lynn Grant plus 11,000.
Crazy. I'll say this too, Leona Maguire. So there hasn't been that many tournaments that are been held at Royal Porthcawl. Obviously, this is the first AIG Women's Open, but there has been some girls amateurs as well as team match competitions. And if we go back, the last big one was in 2011, and Leona Maguire was part of the team that represented GB&I against Europe. Absolutely whooped up on everybody here, to include Madeline Sagstrom, Sophia Popov. The list goes on. And, she is somebody, when we think of links golf, her name always comes around. She's a grinder. And of recent, she finally has found some form. 7th place at the Evian. Last week at the Scottish, she finished T16, disappointing Sunday there. But somebody who needs to be patient, which we discussed. Mm-hmm. Somebody, you don't have to hit the golf ball. Like, this golf course does not benefit a long hitter by any means, just because so many of the par 4s and par 5s run out. Like you can't hit it any further than you're at.
Especially distance off the tee, right?
For sure.
You're kind of capped on a lot of these holes.
And somebody that with all these long irons and woods, like she is so dialed in at every point in time with her hybrids and the woods that she has in the bag. So looking at her, I think she's at plus 9,000. That's where I would be looking at a little bit of action.
Rose Zhang plus 17,000. I mean, I know it hadn't been great. Ingrid Lindblad
so
plus 17,000.
I heard Rose Zhang shot something silly today in her practice round, like a 63 or something. This could be totally wrong. I'm just reporting what
you could move markets with that intel, Randy.
And my jaw dropped again. I don't see a 63 out there. I don't know how accurate it is, but whew. I don't know. If you're looking for some flyers,
there's a lot to like plus 10,000 and more. All right, let's get to our favorite segment for Major Champions. The last major of the year, guys. This is the last of 9, really only 8 now. Who's your pick to win, and who won't win? Who wants to go first, and which order do we want to do it in?
I think we should go who will not win first.
Okay, around the horn, or
sure.
Okay,
I'll go first.
Okay,
Nellie's not going to win.
Wow,
got no problem putting my name on it. Okay,
wow,
it's fine. Take it.
God, I've gone back and forth on Nelly. Mine, I'm going against my own history here, and I believe I've multiple times said she would win a major this year. And we get to the last major, and she's going to be my pick to who won't win, and that's Gino.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think she's a threat.
I worry about her experience and how she plays links golf right now. I think she's somebody that might need a few more spins around this championship to really kind of get it, to appreciate it. So I'm going Gino as my official pick to not win.
That's tough. I'm going to go with
last week?
Lottie Road here. I started this show talking about it. I understand she's the betting favorite. I think it's a lot to ask for the young woman. I will be so thrilled if it does happen. I just think there's a lot in front of her, and it's a lot more than just 4 rounds of golf for Lottie in the next couple days.
Yeah.
Wow, we're real bold. Second career start, not going to win the major.
Exactly.
Really stick your neck out there. I didn't realize Gino did not play last week at the Scottish.
Correct. Hasn't played since Evian.
Yeah.
She's probably still like shell shocked. Like, how did I not win Evian? Did I win Evian? No, I didn't win. How is that?
Coming off T4 and a solo second in her last 2 majors, after we famously called her out at the U.S. Women's Open.
Solly, who's going to win?
I'd feel threatened. I'm just give me Lottie. I'm not gonna. I miss Scotty. I miss Scotty at the Open. I've just gotta. It never works this way. Like, I'm chasing something that is not going to be statistically supported or whatever. But I'm ready to get swept up in all this. So give me Lottie.
Randy, I'm going to jump you here because I'm going to go. It's Solly and I both. We're.
Oh, you're flipping.
We're flipping.
I love
gosh.
it.
Nellie's going to win this thing.
Oh,
Let's go. We would have a lot riding if they end up in a duel come Sunday.
Oh, yes.
Guys, this is like the first tournament I can remember where like I truly don't want to make a winner pick. Like I've gone back and forth on so many people. I'm gonna trust my gut. I felt best about this pick last night at dinner. I think, Cody. I'm gonna buck recent form. I'm gonna buck a lack of back-to-back winners. I'm taking Lydia Ko. Give me Lydia Ko. The queen stays the queen.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to find out. I am very, very excited to watch and to listen to you guys. Guys, I got 3 things for you. If you're ready, unless there's anything else you want to brain dump for AIG, I got 3 Wyndham things for you, and then we can get to our interview.
No.
Yeah, let's hear it.
What's going on stateside?
First off, mea culpa from Sunday's show. I said that there are several players that are on the top 100 bubble going into Wyndham. That was an error. I apologize. I regret the error. That top 100 status rides out through the fall series. Most definitely something I should have known. I think I did know. I just forgot. But I will own that one. So we're not watching the top 100 bubble nearly to the extent for this past week as I would have thought. So that's on me.
Thank you.
Some notables on the outside looking in to get into the top 70. That was, of course, what is on the line here at Wyndham. Nikolai Højgaard, Keith Mitchell, Chris Kirk, Gary Woodland, Bez, country music sensation Eric Cole, Rasmus Højgaard. A lot of hype for these Højgaard guys that both aren't in the playoffs, by the way. But anyways, Adam Scott, Michael Thorbjornsen, Tom Kim, well on the outside looking in, Billy Horschel, who's been had an injury earlier this year, and Joel Damon. They're going to need really, really good weeks. They are closer to 100 than they are the top 70. So
wow, Billy's back, or I feel like he just had surgery.
Yeah, he's back, crazy. And well, isn't he back? I thought he had already played, right?
Oh, Solly setting up for another mea culpa.
God damn, come on! Didn't he play recently? I was
truly, who could say?
You know what? I don't think he has. So he's probably not in the field this week. No, he hadn't played Heritage. Cody, that's another mea culpa. This is why you don't go live. This has been an easy one to edit out of the pod, but so yeah, 4 things. I got the next up's a mea culpa. I don't think Billy's in the field this week. Lastly, this one I know is true. Keegan, Ben Griffin, and Andrew Novak are all playing together. So that is of course of Ryder Cup interest. That's a opportunity to plug. Tomorrow we will have an interview out with Ben Griffin, who tells a great story from the Open Championship about thinking already about the Ryder Cup. His opening tee shot I won't spoil the whole thing, but how he was already thinking Ryder Cup with his opening tee shot at Royal Portrush, and that didn't go great. But
quick
yeah.
question. Sorry. Just because he wasn't in the notables, does Dear Max Homa, does he even have a shot to get? I mean, would he just have to win the tournament to get inside the top 70?
Let me see where he's at. He is outside the.
I believe he's, if I'm looking at this correctly, maybe
106.
Yeah,
he is 106. He would win or put. I don't have the Steve Sands whiteboard, but I think maybe at least a second place would probably have to, if not win, to get into the top 70.
Maybe disrespecting, not putting him in the notable category.
That was intentional, right? Maybe that was intentional, Randy. I know he's probably listening an hour and 6 minutes in here to our AIG Women's Open preview, and instead of getting ready for tomorrow, and it was a motivating factor.
We're pissed as Dodgers have taken the first 2 from our Reds. Yeah.
Bullshit. We didn't have Cabrian Hayes for those games, so tonight.
God, don't remember
guys.
Sorry.
Listen, we talked about what we're doing this week so far. Please tune in, send us messages if you're coming out. Even if you're basically from, if you're sitting in this at home listening to this show from London, jump on the train and come out. I think they said it's only like a 10-15 minute Uber ride from whatever the nearest train station is. Come through. We're excited to see everybody. Excited to call it golf and to see who the champion of this year is going to be. We're going to be back live on Saturday night to get you caught up with the first 3 days of action and then get you set up for that final round while we will be here. But before we get there, Randy, you had a chance.
I did.
You interviewed
Georgia Hall. Listen, obviously not coming in the best of form. Former champion, 7 years ago. Asked her about, has time flown, what she would tell her younger self. Asked her about Lottie Woad. Asked her about the golf course. She can say it much better than I can. So,
and about getting engaged. Congratulations for you for asking that question,
yes.
Big. But huge shout out to, of course, the One Club and MasterCard for bringing this exclusive interview with Georgia. Through the RNA's digital fan membership. That's their One Club. We're going to give everybody that's listening, there's a link below that you can sign up to get some really cool stuff. All right. A pair of tickets to the AIG Women's Open next year at Royal Lytham in St. Anne's. AIG Women's Open pin flag signed by Georgia Hall, and then $500 to shop at the RNA gift shop. That'll be for one person, but the more people that we get signed up, the better. 10 viewers, whoever clicks on that, are going to be randomly drawn to win $150 each to buy anything you want in that RNA shop. Again, thank you to MasterCard and One Club for providing us access really to this interview in an awesome setting at the Royal Porthcawl. I don't know what it was.
The common room.
The common room.
Well, there was a portrait of King Edward right above me. I don't know if that makes the frame or not, but I certainly felt his presence.
Anyway, here's Randy and Georgia.
Oh, what a special treat. We're sitting here in the common room in the Royal Porthcawl actual clubhouse. It's a very old, cool looking room. But the star of the show, Georgia Hall, is joining us. Georgia, thank you so much for being here. It's lovely to talk to you. And I think I should start with this. Congratulations on the recent engagement.
Oh, thanks.
That's exciting.
Yes, I've got lots of them over the past week. So, something different and not about golf for once. So it's been nice. Yeah.
Well, excellent. We're of course here at Royal Porthcawl ahead of the AIG Women's Open. It's a tournament that you've won, of course. I would love to get into that a little bit. But also I need to mention it's the largest women's sporting event in the history of Wales. And I know you've had a big role in promoting it here in Wales. Yeah. What's that been like, and how long ago, what's the timeline been like leading up to now on the eve of competition?
Yeah, I think it's definitely increased over the past 6 months or so. I live a few hours actually from here in England, so it's not too far from me. I played here when I was 14 or 15 in the amateur match. Great Britain and Ireland against Europe. So it's really, really good golf course. It's a tough test as well. And I think we're going to get proper links weather.
I would say, as I'm sitting here now, the folks can't really see, but it could not be a nicer day. My last memory of Royal Porthcawl is the Senior Open that was held here and some of the biblical weather and rain. What kind of a course is it? I got to play it yesterday as part of the Pro-Am. It was the first time I'd seen it. it seems like it's going to be a bit of a test. Who do you think it favors in terms of play style or strengths? Walk me through your thoughts on the golf course.
I think the par fours are quite long, so definitely a good long iron player. I've had a lot of 3, 4, 5 irons into a lot of par fours, a lot of in twin holes as well. So I think if you can flight the ball and hit your long irons well, I think you're definitely in for a good chance this week. Yeah.
I speaking of some of those long par fours, several into the wind, the golf course, it kind of routes every which way. So no matter which way the wind's blowing, you're guaranteed to be playing some holes into it, some behind, and then, several with crosswinds. A little different than I think from some links setups where you kind of can go out and back.
Yes.
And then the other thing that struck me was some of the par fours specifically. I'm thinking of number 17, I believe, and number 1, the opening hole, some real forced kind of stoppages of the fairway where, it kind of forces you maybe to take less than driver. But yeah, I think I don't know, you've probably played more links golf than I have. Where does this golf course stack up against other venues in the Rota and just in your personal golf as well?
I think it will improve as the week goes on, my ranking of it. I think it's definitely top 5 from what I've seen already. I think it's definitely top 5 in the hardest links that we've played. It'd be interesting to see the scores this week overall, because the weather, especially tomorrow, is not supposed to be great, and Sunday's getting up a lot as well. So it'll be, and the RNA obviously, if tees are pushed forward, which some might be, it'll be interesting to see the setup. But I think, to be honest, anywhere around pars will put a good score out there.
I was going to ask you that because coming off the course yesterday, I was like, man, I just can imagine low scores out here. And so you were getting ahead of my next question. Even par certainly seems like it'll be a good score. When you say it's getting up, are you expecting much precipitation this weekend or more just winds kind of picking up? Yeah,
I think winds every day, quite strong winds. And then I think the rain tomorrow morning. But you never know on this type of, so close to the sea like this. You kind of don't really look at the weather and just turn up on the tee and see what you got, really.
I think the last thing, just course-wise, that really struck me was with the prevailing kind of westerly wind, that opening stretch of 4 holes, it seems like you're into the wind each hole. I'm sure getting off to a solid start is part of the game plan for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think the first 4 or 5 and the last 3 or 4 are the hardest of the golf course. So you really have to keep your energy up for the last few holes. But I think, the first 4 or 5 are definitely the hardest. You have some really tough long par 4s that are kind of sloping with the wind. So wherever the wind's going, the slope's going that way as well. So it's hard to keep it on the green. So again, it won't be surprising if you miss a couple of greens, you just need to get up and down. And then you have a few birdie chances in the middle, I think, but you can get some shots back. Yeah.
Do you anticipate any of the par 5s being reachable in 2, or are you kind of planning for them to be more 3-shot par 5s?
Yes, you can reach 2 or 3, I think. But you have to hit quite a brave drive. There's some bunkers in the middle of the fairways where some players might choose to lay up and then they can't reach. But if you're brave and hit a good drive, I think you can reach a couple of them.
How does your game feel? How's the preparation been coming into this week?
I've prepared quite well, I think. Quite a lot of practice and just really enjoying. I think it's my 13th Women's Open, so it's great to be back here as well and see what Wales has in store.
Hopefully lucky 13.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if you're superstitious or not.
Sometimes, so hopefully that will go well for me.
And it's 7 years since you won. 2018, you were the champion at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's. Can you believe, as you reflect back, 13 Open, 7 years since you've won it, I got to imagine it feels like time flies a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a while, but kind of at the same time feels like yesterday. But it's really nice to come back to this event and have, a lot of confidence from winning it and know that I can do it. And obviously a home open for me, which is my favourite event I know I'm biased, but it's my favourite event of the whole season and one I aim for the most.
Yeah. If you could think back to 2018 Georgia Hall, knowing what you know now, what do you think a piece of advice, or what would you tell a younger you? Something that in terms of golf or life or just how to manage life on tour you kind of wish you knew back then.
Yeah, it's a good question. When I won, it was my rookie year on the LPGA. So I didn't actually know what to expect yet. Yeah. So I was very new. I just came off the Ladies European Tour. And I feel like I'm definitely more experienced, but I feel like I'm a better, well-equipped player now than I was back then. But I think most importantly, I would say regarding golf, just kind of to listen to myself more and just swing your swing. Don't try and change it too much to make it look good. If it works, doesn't matter what it looks like. So, I look at videos back then and I think, oh, my swing's so much better now. But it doesn't really matter because you just got to get the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main thing.
Has that been, I apologize, but I know you're probably not having the results that you would like to have recently. Has that been part of it? Have you been trying to kind of either go back to some old swing thoughts? Talk to me about that process, because I'm sure it's been a journey.
It's very normal for that to happen. I've been on tour 11 years, so a long time, and I have always kind of had nearly every year's been pretty decent for me. So when you have a time where you don't have as good results, which is very normal, and I think every player goes through that.
Absolutely.
But I think for me, it's actually having no swing thoughts or having less in your mind then allows you just to play like the game of golf.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, and I feel like I've been playing better over the past couple of months because of it, and just going out there like when I was a kid and just enjoying it a bit more instead of feeling a bit more the pressure.
Yeah, I kind of always think about that. The way I try to, I think this is maybe what you're saying is like feeling like you're playing golf instead of maybe playing golf swing, where things can get mechanical and you're just thinking about, being in certain positions and. Yeah,
definitely. And visualizing shots more, looking like ahead of you and not looking down at the ball. I think that's the main thing, looking where you need to hit it and not what you're doing in your swing and is my setup okay. But I think courses like this and with the weather, it allows you just to be more free because you have to think about, here's the pin, but I need to aim 40 yards left because of the wind. So it just takes that whole element out of it, which is good. Yeah.
I think certainly, we're based in the United States, and I think when people think of links golf or any golf in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, they think about the ball on the ground and, having to keep it low perhaps and really, what that ball does after it touches the ground. Do you think this course lends itself? Do you see yourself having to hit different types of, maybe a low sting or I don't know if you practice much like bumping shots up towards the green. How much of that, I guess, traditional links type golf is available here at Porthcawl? Oh,
this is a proper links. Yeah, you're going to have to hit a lot of low irons into greens, run them up slopes. Not a 58 degree a lot. No lob shots required, really.
That's why I was struggling so much yesterday. I automatically just pull for that highest lofted club and think I'm going to do and it's like, no, man, you gotta keep the ball on the ground.
No, exactly. So that's my favorite type of golf, and it takes a lot of imagination, but I think those punch shots under the wind is going to be very crucial this week.
Yeah, I know. Well, this week obviously is one of the best tournaments of the year that you ladies play. Do you wish you played more links golf? Do you wish that the calendar allowed for more real links type setups?
Yeah, definitely. I think we only get to play once or twice a year like this.
Yeah.
And me personally, I would love to see 5-6 events like this. And I think you can have them in America. You have some decent links golf courses as well, so we can take that across the pond. But it's a shame. I think it's a lot. For TV anyway, it's a lot more exciting watching kind of the golf like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like I said, you just never quite know. And I'm sure as a player, you just, until that ball is completely at rest, you never quite know what's going to happen or where it's going.
Yeah, there's so many humps and bumps there you have to be aware of. It's definitely harder.
Exactly. And I think the women's game is so set up to take advantage of some of the links courses, both maybe in the United States, but also here where perhaps, with the length on the men's tour, they've outgrown certain places, but I know that's a different conversation. I wanted to ask you, a fellow countrywoman, I think there's some symmetry. You said you won the AIG your rookie year, 2018. One of the big stories, she just won in her professional debut, Lottie Wood. I'm curious, have you gotten to spend much time with her? Do you have any type of relationship with Lottie? Have you had a chance to speak to her at all? Yes, I played a practice round with her at the US Open last year, sorry. And then I played with her in the first major of the year this year, in the first 2 rounds. So I got to see quite a lot of her golf. I didn't know of her maybe a year or so ago, or a couple of years ago, but obviously everyone knows of her now. And I just think, most importantly, it's so good for women's golf, but English golf. There's not many of us on the tour. And I think it's great to have, a youngster coming up and obviously winning her maiden title, like the first event as a pro, is incredible. And I think that she's a great player as well. So, and she's a really nice girl. She's quiet and down to earth. So I think that it's a bright future for her. Have you found yourself as, if I may call you a veteran on the LPGA Tour now, I'm curious if how much mentoring, or do you find any younger players kind of coming to you every now and again for pieces of advice, whether golf or I'm sure maybe non-golf life advice? Has it been kind of, I'm sure that's been a bit of a change from, being that wide-eyed rookie to now being one of the veterans on tour? Yeah, I think I have to be in my 30s before I'm a veteran, maybe. That's fair. That's fair. But I kind of feel like I'm in the middle of my career. So I've had a couple for sure. I think that it's very important to have people to go to as well on this tour. It can be quite lonely, and only us players know how it is out there and what they experience, and it can be tough at times as well. So I think it's important to have some friends, and for Lottie, I think it would be important as well. And I know that she hasn't made the trip over to the States yet to play over there, but I'm always happy to go out for dinner whenever she wants. Wonderful. Speaking of just this event, and again, you're 13th, talk to me about the evolution that you've seen of the AIG Women's Open, and in large part thanks to AIG. I have to imagine, you've kind of seen a great transformation here in the last several years. Yeah, especially over the past 4 or 5 years, been a dramatic increase in everything. I think first off, the player services that we have, the facilities, the gym, treatment rooms, the cold plunges, ice baths, everything, and the nutrition is unbelievable. I think it's one of the best that we have. And I think I spoke to other players and they agree. So that's just improved massively over the past 4 or 5 years. Obviously the prize money has, I think, tripled from when I won it. It's amazing. So it's good and bad. I know. No, it's fantastic, and obviously big thanks to RNA and AIG for that. And just, I think also putting our events on world-class golf courses, the same as the men's, like Rota. I think that's very important. And we played at Muirfield a few years ago, and St Andrews again. And here, I think it's just, we're playing the best golf courses in the world, like the women deserve to be. And I know that, the CEO of AIG is very keen on making that happen every year. So this has definitely become, I think, the biggest major in women's golf. In news, I believe, we mentioned next year going back to the site of your championship at Royal Lytham, and then just announced in 2027 going to Royal St George's. The Muirfield event was the first one I was able to attend, and that was, I was so glad to get there, because that was a very big deal for you guys for this championship to finally get to a place like Muirfield. I think it signaled really a blossoming future for this event, and put it, one of the main refrains I think I hear from players and all across the LPGA Tour is venues matter. And
yes, definitely,
I think starting at Muirfield really was when that was like, okay, yeah, this is right on par with the men's rota. So
they've done a great job, and I know in future years as well it will continue to somehow improve. I'm not sure how, but it will.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to keep you too long. What time are you off tomorrow? Are you early or are you late in the day?
12.
Okay,
so I have a
all
bit
right.
of a lane, which is good. I was very early in the pram today, but gonna rest tomorrow, which is nice.
Okay, well, rest up. Georgia, thank you so much for the time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
And we'll be cheering you on.
Thanks.
All right, cheers.
Well, there you have it, Georgia Hall. Best of luck to her this week, huh? Trying to find some form. Who knows what she'll find, but I mean, she's in great spirits.
Yeah. She was delightful to talk to. Listen, I'm not sure if I'd throw a flyer on her to win this week, but I mean, what do I know? What do I know? She could shock the world. Has won before, could certainly do it again.
Absolutely. Again, thank you to One Club and MasterCard for providing that access. And Big, I'm excited. We what time is it now? 9:30. We got to be up, I think, at probably 6:30 to be over to the course to start work in the morning. Long days, but some that I look forward to all year.
Fulfilling days.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think first order of business, let's get some dinner. Solly, I hope you enjoy.
I hate it. Solly muted himself, so I don't have control over him.
I did not dismiss you yet, Randy. I just found out Brian Hayes has chronic back issues. I'd like to keep you for another hour and a half if we can take that down before dinner. So
this will now be a Seamsters Union trap draw. Solly, make sure you're watching Lottie. And we'll see everybody again Saturday night on this here channel. Check us on the radio, send in emails, send in comments. Check out the range. I believe it's called The Drop is the official name of the show. It's from the driving range on the RNA YouTube channel.
Sweet.
And I hope everybody has a great week of golf watching ahead.
go get it, guys. Looking forward to listening.